In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can power on an LED with your Arduino board and how you can also make it blink. And we are going to do two steps. First, create the circuit, and second, write the code. And let's get started with the circuit. So I have my Arduino Uno board here. You can choose whatever Arduino you want. And the cable here is disconnected, very important. I have my breadboard, and I'm going to first take a black wire that I'm going to plug between one GND connector here and this line of the breadboard, the blue line, okay? So now the ground, so all the dots in this line are connected to the ground of the Arduino board, which is very important. Now I'm going to take my LED. And so the color here doesn't matter, I have a green one. You can see the LED has two legs, and one of them on the left here is shorter than the other one. And this is so you can correctly plug your LED. You are going to put the shorter leg of the LED connected to the ground, so to the blue line here, and the other leg of the LED connected to another dot on the breadboard. Like this. So I have one leg connected to ground and another leg connected to an independent line here on the breadboard. Now I can take my 220 ohm resistor and just put any leg of that resistor to the same line, here it's very important, the same line as the longer leg of the LED. And the other leg of the resistor just put on a different line. Okay, different line here on the breadboard. Finally, I'm going to take another wire and I'm going to plug this wire here on the same line as the other leg of the resistor and a digital pin. So I'm going to choose digital pin number 12. All right, and now you have the correct setup. So LED between ground and the resistor, and then the resistor, and then connected to pin number 12. And now you can connect your Arduino board to your computer. Back to the Arduino IDE, now you can go here on Tools and make sure that your board is correctly selected here and connected. So I have Arduino Uno for me, and I have correctly plugged my board to my computer. So now let's write the code. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to add a define like this with LED pin all uppercase and the number of the pin, which is pin number 12. So with this I can create kind of a constant that I can use anywhere in my code. So if I ever want to change the pin for the LED, for example, to pin number 11, then I just need to change that value here and note in the code. All right, so in the void setup would be executed once at the beginning of the program. So what we need to do in that void setup, we need to initialize the mode for the pin with the function pin mode. You can see, and uppercase with the M, that's very important. You should have the orange color. So pin mode, I need to give two arguments here. The first one is the pin number, which is LED pin, okay, comma, and the second argument is the mode, which is here output, and it should turn blue. So you have input, okay, that you can use, for example, to read from push buttons, and you have output, which means that you are going not to read data from the pin, but to write data to actuate the LED. So the void setup is now complete. This will be executed once at the beginning of the program. You initialize the mode for the pin to output. And then in the void loop, what we can do, let's write some code. So the void loop will be called after the void setup. And once the void loop has finished, it will be called again and again and again. So this is an infinite loop. So what I can do is, for example, digital write. So digital write with uppercase W here. It should turn orange. This will allow you to write some state to a digital pin that you have set as output. Okay, so I'm going to provide, of course, the name of the pin first, as always, and then I can choose between high, you can see in blue here, and low. So what does it mean? It means that if I set the pin to low, I'm going to apply 0 volt on the pin. If I set to high, I'm going to apply the max voltage, which is here for my Arduino Uno, 5 volts. And what does it really mean with the LED? It means that if you apply 0 volt, you are going to power off the LED. If you apply 5 volt, you are going to power on the LED. So if I do this, digital write with LED pin and high, here I know that at this point with this line, the LED should be powered on. So now what will happen if I just run that program? Well, the LED will be powered on indefinitely because it will always call that function all over again. What I can do now is do digital write with LED pin low, which means that I'm going to toggle between the state high and the state low for the pin. And thus I'm going to power on the LED, power off the LED, and then go back again, power on the LED, power off the LED, etc. But one thing here that is very important is that this code will be executed very, very fast. Okay, a computer executes code very fast. So if you just run the code like this, it's going to alternate very, very quickly, and you won't be able to notice the difference between the state. It will be kind of always powered on because you will not see the alternance between the two modes. The human eyes can't see a change that is too quick like this one. So what we are going to do is we are going to pause the program between each state, okay, for the pin. And we are going to pause the program with a function that is called delay, and you can see also turn it orange. And the delay, we need to give a number of milliseconds. So if we want to pause the program for 1 second, we need to provide 1000 milliseconds. And of course, don't forget to add a semicolon after each instruction you write, okay? That is so the Arduino IDE and the compiler can know that this is the end of an instruction. So here we set up the mode for the pin output, great. Then we power on the LED, we wait for 1 second so we can see the LED which is powered on, and then we power off the LED. And then what we need to do is also to add another delay here, because after this line, after the loop has finished, it will go back to the beginning. So if we don't use that delay here, after we power off the LED, we are going to power on the LED immediately. So by adding a delay here between those two instructions and a delay here between this instruction and that one, we make sure that we can see the LED powered on for 1 second, powered off for 1 second, and then powered on for 1 second, etc., etc. So that's it for the code. Now what I can do is to upload the code directly, and I need to save it as, let's say, test LED. And you can see now the LED is powered on, powered off, powered on, powered off, etc., etc. every 1000 milliseconds or 1 second. Great, so to recap, first you can use define to create a constant, so we can use the LED pin here constant instead of 12 every time. As you can see, that's more convenient. Then you need to set a mode, which is either input or output, because we want to actuate the LED. We set the mode to output with pin mode function. And then if you want to power on the LED, you use digital write LED with high. If you want to power off the LED, digital write with low. And make sure to add some delay so you can wait between each change of the state so you can actually see what's happening. If you liked this video, subscribe to get more tutorials like this in the future. Also, check out my online courses so you can learn Arduino step by step in an efficient way by practicing and directly going to the point. Links in the description. Alright, thank you for watching. See you in the next tutorial or in one of my courses.